see it in the middle, you know, and you touch something called full screen. Yeah, because it typically puts everything in a 9:16 automatically. And then when you go on the platform and you upload the video, they have this little thing that says full screen. You touch that and it flips it sideways for you so that you can, yeah. 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 You know what? I'm go I'm gonna screen record that. I'm gonna screen record that. So anyway, this is our frustration. Our frustration comes from feeling like it just will take too long. But they always say the reason why the process of your success feels like it's taking forever is because your blessing is that much larger. Think about it like this. If this was just let's say this was an 80 megabyte file. Okay. Okay. Cool. Let's put this in context. What if this was an 800 terabyte file? That hits different. It might take you 2 hours just to get here. Yeah? Just imagine that. Imagine that it took you 2 hours to get here. And remember, not every day is the same. Some days the internet is a little faster, some days a little slower. So think about that. So the larger your blessing, the longer it might take for you to get to where you want to go. So therefore, as they say, or rather in the words of the philosopher known as Seneca, we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Or we suffer more from imagination than in reality, which means we're looking at this and we're seeing this as this is not good enough because we take too long to get an 800 terabyte file. Not remembering that it's an 800 terabyte file. You're not asking for something small. Well, pause. Sorry. Your blessing that you're asking for is not a small blessing. Right? So therefore, you have to do extraordinary things to get the extraordinary. You know, you can't do what everybody else does and expect to be a high achiever. So you have to be willing to endure the pain of waiting for a couple of days to get to here. You have no idea how many days you have to wait for it to get to here. But when you did wait, look at what you have left. Look at this. Look at this space that you have left. That look like 95%. And what, can you stop when you get here? No. You go until the job is done. That's right. That's the meaning of making abundant tangible habits. Because at the end of the day, sometimes what happens to a lot of us is that we stop before the download finish. So that's what happens, right? So we have this and we have the choice to click on cancel. And sometimes we click cancel, not knowing how close we were to the end. And that's why a lot of times people get frustrated when they are trying to make about non-tangible habits. Yeah. So therefore, I know the frustrations that I face. So I don't fool myself and act like even I am immune from it. I have to discipline myself every day to say, hey, understand that even if I'm not careful with my shielding, I need to be disciplined to know that, hey, guess what? It don't look like much, but the blessing is coming. So trust the process. Do it every day anyway. Die anyway. Do it every day anyway. You know, if you're going to live, just die anyway. Just do it every day anyway. And I know it sounds morbid, doesn't it? Die anyway. What do you mean by die anyway? Do it every day anyway. Don't matter how you feel, just do, and a lot of people will say to you, because you have to understand this. You have to understand this. Some people will say, there's no point to having consistency if you don't have strategy. I agree with that. I agree with that. You have to have a system that works for you. I've developed a system. And sometimes your system is dependent on your 9 to 5. Sometimes you're working Monday to Friday, so you say, okay, I don't have the time Monday to Thursday. But you do on Friday, you do on Saturday, you do on Sunday. So what you do? You utilize your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because you don't have that extra obligation. Yeah. So therefore, you utilize the time that you don't have to go into the office. You don't have to go in on those days. So use that time, right? So let's say, for example, your Saturday and Sunday will be your recording days and you post Monday to Friday. When you get back around to Saturday, you record again. And you just keep going and going and going and just and also you can even pace yourself. Record ahead of time. Just like how some people write lesson plans ahead of time. Just like how when people are making movies, they do what? A lot of pre-production, right? And then they start going, they comb through hours of footage and then scale it down. A lot of the hours of footage that they do has to be edited all the way down to fit maybe a little over an hour and a half to 2 hours. Imagine trying to cram, right, over 200 hours of footage and you try and turn that to 2 hours. That's compression. Okay? And so I try to lead by example. Is this frustrating? Doing this, rambling about, semi-sensible things? It might be. But the beauty about it is that I feel invigorated. I have a renewed sense of purpose, especially when it comes to this page. Because all of this used to be about me. So the page was a little bit narcissistic. Yeah. But now the page is more selfless now. It's more about, hey, I made my mistake.